Welcome back to the United Inland Empire radio program, folks. You know, you've been hearing all week long about the problems, but today we're talking about the solutions, and the solutions have to do directly with June 3rd, the primary that's coming up. And we have with us right now a guest in the studio. His name is Randy Beasley, and he's running for San Bernardino County Supervisor for District 2. Welcome to the show, Randy.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Nice to have you here. And so maybe we need to get right into, Randy, why are you running for the county supervisor position?
Well, I was at the sheriff's office for 30 years in the crime lab. I was doing CSI work before it was on TV. So on the ballot, by the way, most people know me as Randy Beasley. It's Randolph B. Beasley, to be just,
sure, that's the way it appears on the ballot. Okay.
Exactly. And I'm running to make San Bernardino County a safer place to live. I'm born and raised in the Inland Empire. I've seen the spiral downhill of the city of San Bernardino. I moved out of the city of San Bernardino 18 years ago to Lake Arrowhead because the crime had increased to such a level that they were having shootings near our kids' junior high location. And
that was 18 years ago.
That was 18 years ago.
And it's not gotten better since then, obviously.
No, but I mean, the stats for homicides are down. However, it's still a scary place to be, and it needs to be cleaned up, and it needs to be managed better.
What's wrong with Janice Rutherford, your opponent, that you're running against her?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Greg, because I was not interested in politics whatsoever. I have 7 grandkids, 2 businesses. But when Janice Rutherford basically not only allowed a drug rehab center called Above It All to operate without being properly licensed in our mountains, she blew off the community in business as well, taking tax dollar revenue away from the chambers of commerce. So because of the safety issue I saw, I went to a public hearing. I looked right at Janice Rutherford and the other board members and said, you need to amend this ordinance that they were going to pass on February 25th that would allow multiple unlicensed drug rehabs, that key point here, that allow multiple parolees to go into our neighborhoods. And this is not just up the hill, this is down the hill in San Bernardino County as well. I know that having parolees clustered together with multiple residential care facilities is a recipe for disaster. People will get hurt.
So what is the difference between the licensed and an unlicensed drug facility or rehab facility? What's the difference? Why is that? Is it supervision? They're under less supervision, so that makes them more dangerous, or?
Well, they have state licensed parolee homes, for example. There's one in Running Springs called Pine Ridge. They're licensed by the state of California. For those facilities that are not licensed by the state of California, then the county actually determines the guidelines for how they operate. So the county of San Bernardino, that's what the Board of Supervisors is in authority over, determines that ordinance. They did not investigate the details of that ordinance. It needs to be amended.
And where do you suppose the prospects are that there'll be a drug rehab facility with multiple parolees in Janice Rutherford's neighborhood?
Yeah, I think if she was dealing with it, it would have been investigated a little more thoroughly. There would have been a little better reform. She says she's a reformer. Nothing against her personally. However, the whole conflict of interest and money and influence, that has not been reformed. That's alive and well in San Bernardino County, and I'm experiencing it right now.
Tell us more about her conflicts of interest.
Okay, well, conflicts of interest, guys, it's absolutely absurd how it's all about the money in politics. Now, I knew this going in. I went in with my eyes wide open. Okay, I had my mud suit on in case the mud gets thrown. It was such an important issue for me, for the safety of our neighborhoods, to keep parolees in the commercial zoned areas. That's why I started to run. Conflict of interest came up when I looked for endorsements. I heard that she had upset a lot of organizations and associations that donated money to her. One particular association donated over $100,000 to her campaign. And then when I spoke to them, I'm only asking now for $4,100 because that's the maximum. Now, so that was a good reform, but it's very convenient for her to have $300,000 in the bank in her campaign account and then limit the next person to come in for $4,100 max. Kind of convenient, right?
Wow.
Well, they did not endorse me because of my bullet point. And if you go to electbeasley.com, look at conflict of interest, and you'll see how I think that if a county supervisor can receive a campaign contribution from you individually or your company, and then turn right around either before or after and vote on that contract. I couldn't believe that was allowable.
Wow.
Now, if you're not buying influence, the association that I'm talking about, who gave her $100,000, was not getting the influence that they wanted, but yet they wouldn't endorse me. They considered to spend some money against her, but then went back to the negotiation table, and now she's making some moves toward them, and that's all they wanted.
Wow.
It's a print that, I mean, to me, there's no, the ethics of that, it stinks big time.
Do you have other issues that you're running on?
I do. Small business, the county planning department is broken. She has admitted it's broken, but yet the planning and safety and building department to get something done, to get permits done and then approved, so a contractor can go legitimately to do his remodel, his business, to start his or her business. But yet it's so much red tape with county that it takes forever. Well, time is money in business. I'm a businessman. And so if you want to attract businesses to our county, you need to simplify the process. If the planning department is broken, you had 4 years to fix it. Fix it. Don't give excuses that it's out of your hands. Your hands are tied. That's what she said on the drug rehabs. That's what I've heard that she has said in the same issue with business.
Wow. Well, if you want to get more information about Randolph Beasley's campaign, you can go where, Randy?
Elect Beasley, that's BEASLEY.com, and then Beasley for Supervisor on Facebook.
Gotcha. And folks, when regular, ordinary citizens step up to the plate to ask for your vote, you really need to look into the issues. When things are going in such a direction that, folks who live in these communities are standing up and saying, I've got to get involved because I just can't see this stuff happen anymore. You really got to learn more about the issues and what's going on. Randy, thank you for coming into the studio with us today and sharing with us a little bit about what's going on in that race.
Thank you, gentlemen. Tell everybody you know in District 2, vote Beasley.
We will be right back.